So now it is my pleasure to introduce Tennille Spencer from Drape to say a few words and introduce our presenters for this afternoon. Tennille is an entrepreneur and the owner of Deeply Dope Teas. She's also a community organizer and board member of Drape. Welcome, Tennille.
Good afternoon, ladies. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm happy to have you joining us for this very exciting presentation about how we as Black women in business can get to the money. So I'm excited to hear this information with you all as well in partnership with the Ajax Library and brought to you by Drape, the Durham Region Association of Black Professionals and Entrepreneurs. If you're not plugged in, please get connected with us. We are doing exactly this sort of work, collaborating and sharing resources and support services from other agencies such as BBPA, and hearing from ladies from like Susan and Frances, and yeah, it's just about sharing the resources. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Frances, and we are going to hear some information, and I'm going to ask that you please go ahead and put any questions you might have into the chat. And at the end of all of this, we're going to be having a Q&A if there's anything you want to follow up with her about. So let me just tell you a little bit information about Frances. Just 1 second here. Sorry, bear with me 1 moment, please. Okay, so Frances, hi Frances, can you hear me? Frances is
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, good, just making sure you're there for me. Frances is the executive director of the BBPA, the Black Business and Professional Association. The organization is Canada's leader in supporting the business, entrepreneurial, professional, and overall social and economic development needs of the Black community. Frances brings extensive insight and management competence from her experience as a corporate manager. She was a senior procurement and supply chain manager at Bell Canada. She earned a trade accreditation in both the US and Canada and helped to enact and deliver best-in-class procurement strategies at Bell. Her activities included industry representation as the media relations officer in Canada for the Institute of Supply Management. She also served as public relations officer for the Durham Purchasing Management Association of Canada. As a community advocate, she has served in several capacities. She was founding president of the Council of Caribbean Association Canada. She is also a community influencer working with the Canadian Armed Forces to help build bridges into all of Canada's communities. Frances was acknowledged as one of 2018's 100 most accomplished Black women. Very cool. In addition to several accolades and awards, including the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Award, RBC's Canada's Top 75 Immigrants, the BBPA Women of Honor Award, Afro Global Volunteer of the Year Award, and OECS Award of Excellence, among many others. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Frances to share some insight with us today. Thank you, Frances.
Thank you, Tennille. I will just say to the audience that there's actually 3 speakers because I have the honor of Victor Paris being with us today. Victor is a senior loans officer at FACE, and he will do an introduction of himself once he comes in. So he's the more important speaker of the 2 of us today because he has the money. So I won't waste any more of your time. But I'll tell you that in 2020, when COVID was really rampant, the BBPA surveyed Black businesses and found that the pandemic had seriously exacerbated the negative impacts of systemic racism that we were suffering. In some communities, we took stopgap measures using our unencumbered funds to support, for example, the Black businesses in Little Jamaica by providing $150,000 in cash to help them bridge the gap. For some of them, it was past due rent. Others couldn't purchase the supplies. Others couldn't pay the utilities. The impacts were great, and the funds helped to temporarily stop some of those gaps. But we realized this would not do in the long term. Enter the BAIDS program. The BAIDS program was built to enable small Black businesses to succeed. It's a one-of-a-kind program for our community, and it's a platform built through realistic and cultural lens to address the issues of race, lack of access to capital, to information, lack of access to networks and resources, amongst many others. So BAIDS was conceived as part of the BBPA's COVID-19 recovery strategy and plan for Black businesses. So you would ask me, what is BAIDS about? So BAIDS stands for the Business Advisory Implementation Development Services, and it's a unique, all-inclusive program designed to provide expert help to Black businesses who do not have the resources or the expertise to perform those services themselves. The way it works is that the applicants to the program receive pro bono services and support from the BBPA. The BBPA then engages professionals to deliver those services. We screen our service providers to make sure they understand the cultural sensitivity and responsiveness required for this program. We endeavor to have the majority of our service providers as Black professionals, but that is not always possible, as you can understand. The outcome of the program for Black businesses is that they will become compliant to the rules and regulations and legal frameworks of running and operating a business. Who is BAIDS for, you ask? BAIDS is designed for business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs across the Black community in Canada. It is a nationwide program that will cater to small and to medium-sized businesses, single-owned partnerships, family-owned or franchise. All Black businesses with the zeal to scale up and thrive will have access to BAIDS and its resources. We have received upwards of 450 applications, and we encourage all who believe they have the capacity to scale up to apply to the program. You can find the BAIDS link on the BBPA website. How will we facilitate the program? Like I said, we have experts in various professional capacities who will cover the program and deliver the services and also mentor the businesses. We recently issued an RFP, a request for proposal, to our service providers, and we will soon be sending out an RFI to give others a chance to provide expressions of interest so they can provide services on the BAIDS. Here are some of the services that we provide: business planning and budgeting, accounting and bookkeeping, auditing, business registration, taxation, GST and HST filing, bank and government loans applications, annual tax filings, grant writing, grants preparation, marketing, digital or otherwise, HR, hiring and retention, IT implementation and development, operations management, business operations, referral to professionals, for example, in insurance, and media, PR, publicity, and payroll. So that in a nutshell is the BAIDS program. Our expectation is that once we get you ready to scale up, you can now apply for the FACE Black Entrepreneurial Loan. You do not necessarily have to come through BAIDS. We're just one step in helping you get ready for FACE. And so now that I've told you what BAIDS is about, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Victor Paris, who is the Senior Loans Officer, and he'll tell you more about himself and he will speak to you about the FACE loan. Thank you very much. Victor, it's yours.
Oh, thank you very much, Francis. And I believe it was Tenille. Thank you very much. My name is Victor Paris, and I am the Chief Lending Officer at FACE. FACE is the Federation of African Canadian Economics. We are a loan fund established across the country, all the way from the East Coast, all the way out to Vancouver. FACE was, I would say, initiated here in Quebec, where I'm coming to you from, in Montreal, and expanded across the country with a consortium of partners, as I said, in Halifax, Quebec, Montreal, Toronto, and out west. So in a nutshell, FACE is a fund that was established with a $30 million capital contribution by the federal government. And we have a partner we have a few partners. We have a partner in the form of the Business Development Bank of Canada that has contributed $130 million of their own money. We also have, as I see my friend and colleague, Susan Henry, is our microloan partner, one of our microloan partners, who is providing what we call microloans, loans from $10,000 to $25,000 in Ontario. And Van City is our other microloan partner, providing microloans of $10,000 to $25,000. So quickly, the loans at FACE range from, with our partners at Van City and Alterna, from $10,000 all the way up to $250,000. So a loan of as small as 10, as large as $250,000. I guess the main questions that people have on their mind is what is the eligibility and what are the criteria? How do I get this money? Well, first of all, you would go to the website. So that's FACE, that's the Federation of African Canadian Economics. On that website, you will register your business. I will say that part of the program that we have at FACE is not just to lend money, but also to create a database of businesses across the country. So you will register your business, put in your business name and all the information about your business and answer some questions on our platform. The actual program that you use is called Bobby. But when you go on the FACE website, you'll see Bobby and you'll just log on and answer and enter information. You don't have to apply for a loan at FACE. You can just register and be part of what we would call the FACE family, so that we're creating this database. I should say that we have some 23,000 Black entrepreneurs that are registered on our website, and about 15,000 of those have actually applied for loans. So an incredible outpouring of need for this program. I'll just back up a second and say that this program was announced by the federal government sometime, I believe, in September 2020, but we actually launched lending money this May of 2021. So we're brand new startup. So you will log on to the site. What do you need to do if you want to apply for a loan? You need to have a business plan. You need to have financial statements. If you are a startup, meaning that you have not issued a financial statement for your business yet, you'll have to provide projections, and in your business plan, you'll have to provide a fairly robust explanation of how you're going to grow your sales if you don't have a business plan yet, if you don't have financial statements yet, because we don't really have anything to base our analysis on. So you'll need to upload a business plan, financial statements, financial projections. There's an application form that you have to fill out. There's a personal net worth form that you'll have to fill out. We'll need your notice of assessment. That's your form from the tax department that shows that what the results of your tax return are. So those are the basic documents you need. Depending on your business application, your loan application, and what you want to apply for, you may need to provide some other documentation, such as if you want to buy equipment, you'll have to provide the invoice for the equipment. If you made some expenses that you want us to refinance, you'll have to provide some proof of that. If you are starting out and you're claiming that you're going to be selling, growing your sales, you may have to provide some documentation as to how exactly that's going to happen, if it's a contract or letter of offer or something like that. But the basic information is what I've mentioned just before. Excuse me. So that is the process of applying at FACE. I'll tell you a little bit about our team. So I am the Chief Lending Officer at FACE. Joined FACE when we started in May. I'm a career banker. My previous role was a Vice President of Capital Markets at RBC for 20 some odd years. I have a team of 5 entrepreneurship loan officers. So these are loan officers across the country who will be looking at your file and analyzing your file. We have a team of 3 analysts who support the entrepreneurship loan officers. So we're a small team of 8 people across the country who will be looking at your loans and assessing your loans. So people often ask, well, what is the criteria? What we try to do at FACE is to establish criteria that are much more flexible at the bank. So if you go to the bank for a small business loan, they will basically look at your credit score, and it's either a yes or a no. We will look at your credit score, but our criteria for your credit score is much lower than at the bank. But apart from that, we are going to be looking at the entire picture of the person. In other words, what is their character? What is their lived experience? What is their determination? And try to make as much possible positive case. In other words, our mindset being Black people, this program was designed by Black people for Black people. Our mindset is to try in any way possible to lend the money to Black entrepreneurs. So that's the key here. I guess if you're wondering, like, what's the difference between FACE as a lending institution and a bank? Banks, as you know, are very conservative, and their default mindset is to say, well, we'd rather not lend the money. We'd rather not take any risk. We're going to take as much risk as reasonable, understanding that we are custodians of these funds that have been given to us, and we have to make sure that the loan fund continues and prospers. But we take a very holistic approach, and more importantly, every single entrepreneur that applies will be able to speak to somebody and explain their situation. We want to know more about these entrepreneurs. I would just say that apart from the actual loan fund, right? So $30 million, which is FACE's proprietary money, and then $130 million with the Business Development Bank, we have an ecosystem. The ecosystem was funded by the federal government. I believe they made the announcement a couple of months ago. This is a network of Black organizations, business support organizations, Francis BBPA being one of them, that is there to help Black entrepreneurs build their capacity to be able to borrow money. So the BAIDS program is a very powerful partner in our voyage as one of the accredited members of the Black ecosystem. So these are institutions across the country that are providing support, business support to Black entrepreneurs. So if you apply to a FACE and we're not able to lend you money because of whatever reason, you're not just going to be declined. You will be referred to an ecosystem partner. In this case, could be Francis, and they will help you. And Francis made a very good presentation in terms of the services they offer, extremely powerful in making Black businesses more able to lend money and also more robust going forward. So the ecosystem partners aren't just there to help you get the loan, but also to support you after you've got the loan to make sure that your business is a success. So I gave you the basic criteria for the loan application process. What can you borrow the money for? Just about anything. So you can borrow the money to expand your business, for working capital needs if you want to expand your business. By that, I mean, if you need to support inventory, you need to support receivables, you need to build a website. You can borrow the money to make acquisitions. So if you need to buy some equipment, if you need to buy some software, there are only very few areas where we will not get involved. And that is, if I could say, the sex trade or the gun trade. We even can look at the cannabis trade because it is legal now. So there are very few areas that we will not look at. Technically, we'll look at almost any type of business. You know, part of the things that we look at is the experience of the entrepreneur in that business, right? So if you have a lot of experience and you've shown expertise and determination in your field and you want to now go from working for a living to starting your own business, this is a lot of what we're seeing in the Black entrepreneur space. And these are things that we're trying to encourage. Our loans range from 5 years to 7 years, depending on what type of project you're doing. So if you're buying a piece of equipment that has a long life, we can lend you money for 7 years. If you're using the loan for working capital, it would most likely be a 5-year loan. We can even give you 12 months where you don't pay any principal, interest only. So that's something that would help you with your cash flow. Every loan will be customized according to what the entrepreneur needs, the best fit of the entrepreneur. The loans at this point all get funded through the Business Development Bank. The loans from 25,000 to 250,000, they get funded through the Business Development Bank, which is our partner, but FACE is obviously maintaining the relationship. What do we take as collateral? All of the loans will be collateralized with a full personal guarantee. If you're buying any type of equipment, we will also take the equipment you buy as security. Apart from that, we don't have to take any extra collateral. How much will the loan cost? So the interest rate is based on the Business Development Bank's base rate, which is 4.5, plus an additional premium of anywhere from 2 to 3, 4%. So you can calculate that the average loan will be around 7%, but each loan is priced, if I could say that term. The interest rate is established based on the risk profile. So we have a whole system of risk analysis, and we determine the risk rating of your file, and we price the file accordingly. There's a 1% application fee, and there's a $350 administration fee going forward. So that's the program in a nutshell. That's the broad strokes. I don't know if there's any questions. I haven't looked in the chat. I'll look in the chat and see if there's any questions here. I don't really see any questions here. I'm not sure if I've used up all the 10 minutes that I had.
I have a question for you there, Victor. I was wondering if there's deadlines that we should adhere to for this process.
So excellent question. So the program has been established, as I said, in May, and there is no deadline. This program is established to last, I won't say forever, but actually grow. So we're actually small now with 30 million and 130 million. Personally, I want to see this fund grow up to hundreds of millions to support Black entrepreneurs, not just in Canada, but elsewhere. So no, there is no deadline. You might ask, well, what happens when all the money runs out? We do not have a contractual obligation from the government, but in our negotiations with the government, it's been made very clear that if this program succeeds, Black entrepreneurs flourish, which you can see already, this program will receive more funding and we're going to get more partners. So there's no rush. It's not like a grant program that's going to end the 31st of December, 2021. That's not going to happen. We're here for years and years. Having said that, it's always a good idea to move forward as quickly as possible, but there is no deadline. And you could start with a loan of 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, and come back to FACE as your business grows and borrow more money. You don't have to pay back the first loan to get a second loan. You can grow your business and we'll grow with you. So I think that's a very interesting point. Thank you for the question.
Awesome. We have some more some activity in the chat. Some people are asking what is the process? How long does the process generally take, the application process?
Okay, so I will say, I'll be very transparent that out of the gate, we did experience a lot of technical issues. So we built our interface, the platform that you see, with the help of technological companies. And there was a lot of glitches in terms of clients not being able to get on, clients not being able to upload their documents. We all take technology for granted, but there were a lot of issues. Most of those issues, I would say, have been resolved. So if you upload your forms, you have to be patient. Sometimes it's difficult. You may upload a form and then we don't see it. We're working through that. Once we have all of the documents that we need, our, I'll call it service delivery commitment to you is that we will get back to you within a couple of weeks, and you should have an approval within 3 to 4 weeks. Now, I will mention that we do an internal approval process at FACE, and then the file goes to the Business Development Bank where they do a little bit more due diligence. That, depending on the nature of your business, could take a little bit more time. And I'll be very specific. If you have a car dealership or a jewelry dealership or a money handling dealership company, these types of businesses, because of the federal regulations that we're all subject to, require what they call enhanced due diligence. So they do a little bit more work because everybody's worried about money laundering. So that may take a little bit more time. But what we do commit to doing, and we're getting better at it, is communicate with you so that you know how the process is going along. But you can say like 4 to 6 weeks from start to finish once your file is complete. There's a lot of work in gathering documents. That's really what's taking us the longest time, I see, with our files, getting the right documents, the right statements, the right information, and that takes time, but we work with you.
Okay, I'm not sure if you're staying with us to be able to answer questions at the end. So if
yeah, I can stay. I don't.
Okay, because I'd like to.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
don't worry, ladies. We're going to get to all those questions at the end of the at the program here. But what we're going to do right now is introduce Susan Henry so that we can hear some of what Susan has to impart about to us today. Thank you so much, Victor. That was super informative.
Thank you very much.
Susan, are you there? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So let me introduce you all to Miss Susan Henry. She has over 25 years experience in the microfinance arena. She manages the Alterna Savings Community Microfinance Program and the Community Loans Funds Partnership Program. Susan is also an acknowledged leader in the field of community economic development in Canada and has advised policymakers and practitioners in the area of microfinance. She continues to consult and lend her expertise to organizations starting community loan funds with a focus on small business and social enterprise development. So please take it away, Susan.
Great. Thank you, Tennille. It's a pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Susan Henry. I'm the Director of Microfinance and Economic Inclusion at Alterna Savings. And today I'm going to talk to you a bit about our community microfinance programs And you might hear me repeat a few of the things that Victor and Francis has already spoken about. So again, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Alterna, but as you can see from my backdrop behind me, we've been around since 1908, which is 113 years. We're celebrating our birthday month this month. So if you're not familiar with Alterna Savings, we are a financial cooperative. Again, we've been around since 1908. We are the 9th largest credit union in Canada and the 2nd largest in Ontario. And Alterna Savings is made up of Alterna Savings and its wholly owned subsidiary Alterna Bank. So we also have a virtual bank. We have $10 billion in asset under management, 186,000 members, and 36 branches across Ontario, including Peterborough Community Savings. We have a call center and some digital channels. We have, many of you may not be close to an Alterna branch, but we do have access to 43,000 surcharge-free ATMs throughout Canada and the US. So just like any other financial institutions, you will find at Alterna that we do have things like checking and savings account, mortgages and loans. We have a high volume of nonprofit organizations with us. We do retirement and investment planning, small and enterprise solutions, and savings and investment plans. Now, what really makes us different from your traditional financial institution is that credit unions are member-owned. So you actually have a voice, you have a strong voice of how we operate. When you become a member, you purchase your membership share, which for us is $15, and that gives you an active voice. You get to use that voice at our annual general meeting, and you get to vote for the board of directors, and the board of directors really set the framework for how we operate as a financial institution. Again, our profits are very different from traditional financial institutions in that they're reinvested back into the community, into things like our community microfinance program. So if you want to know more about Alterna, you can visit alterna.ca, and you'll really, through our website, you'll learn a lot more. So what we're here to talk about is, how do you finance your business and the type of, loan products we have, when you're starting a business or you're expanding or growing your business. And, there's some things you're going to need to know before you start to borrow money. And the first thing is, when you're starting a business, it's really important to know that your personal credit matters. And Victor alluded to this a little bit. It's not the only thing that a lender looks at, but I can tell you it's probably one of the first things that they look at. And sometimes I hear from entrepreneurs, well, I'm incorporated, so it means, I'm not personally liable, so my credit shouldn't really be factored into this. And really, that is not really true. Most financial institutions will base your loan on your personal capacity to borrow. That's really important. So we're gonna do a really quick snapshot on, this first piece around credit and what you really need to do to protect your credit. So the first thing is, I'm not sure how many of you have ever pulled your credit report, but it's really important, not just for maybe looking for a loan for your business, but for all aspects of your life, you need to know what's on your credit report. You need to ensure that no one is using your credit, and you need to ensure that that information is up to date and factual. So there are a few things that make up a credit report that's important, and that it starts with when you open your account. So are you new to the credit reporting bureau? How much do you owe? Are you making your payments on time? Have you missed any payments, and have you exceeded your limits? So when you look at all those factors, what that makes up is your credit score. And your credit score ranges from 300 to 900. And sometimes I'll say no score at all, with the average Canadian having a credit score of about 700 to 720. And most financial institutions really don't like to lend money when your credit score falls below a certain minimum. And for standard traditional credit unions, that could be 650, 680, and sometimes it could go up to the average, which is 700. So you want to make sure you're keeping your scores at a minimum around the average Canadian score of about 700 to 720. And if you need to think about how do you improve your credit score, and quickly, you need to look at your payment history. So you need to make sure you're making your payments as agreed, even if it's the minimum amount. If you can pay more, that's great, but you want to make at least the minimum, because if you miss a payment, your score is going to drop. And if you missed all your payments in 1 month, and let's say your average score was around 720, you can lose upwards to 150 points. And now you're below the acceptable level of getting any credit. And if you do get credit, you may have to pay higher than usual interest rates. You also want to make sure you're sort of keeping tabs of your available credit usage, utilization. You want to make sure that you're hovering around 30%. We know sometimes you may be higher, but you're going to have to do your best to bring those levels down. So for example, if you've got a $5,000 credit card, you don't want to leave it at its maximum $5,000, because now you've utilized your whole credit. Also, when that creditor goes to put in the interest, it can bring you over the limit, which means you're going to lose even more points and your score is going to drop some more. Also, the length of your credit history is important. Sometimes we have new Canadians, who may have very little credit, and, their role is going to be build that credit over time. So, the longer your credit history, the better. A little tip I always give is, when you're looking at credit cards and, you go into the stores and they have great rewards and points, be careful if you take a card and then you close one that you've had maybe for 10 years. Because if you do that and you don't have any other credit, you're sort of cutting off the longest period that you have on that credit history. And that will also cause you to maybe lose some points. Then there's the inquiry. So you really want to be careful of this now that you're looking for financing of, applying. So, you don't want to apply to every financial institutions, and because that is going to reduce your scores, your score as well. So I often say, it's always important to speak to your lender, if you can, and talk about your situation. If they're going to move forward with the application, they're going to pull your credit report, or maybe you can pull it and show it. They won't be able to use that, but at least they'll be able to give you some recommendations if necessary about how to improve your credit. And then types of credit is the last thing. It's really important, making sure you have a mix. So you don't just have all credit cards. A mix of credit includes a term loan, a line of credit, credit cards. And, I often tell people good credit versus bad credit. When we think about investing in our future, you can get an RSP loan, which is going to be your money. And that RSP loan will be registered on the credit report, and you're paying it off, but then you're saving for your future. So that's also part of a good credit mix. So quickly, always check your credit report, make sure the information is accurate. If you have any disputes, you can always go to Equifax or TransUnion. They're the two credit bureaus that's mainly used in Canada. The website is here. Your credit information is free, but if you want to see your score, you'll have to pay for that. Now, how does financial institutions lend? I'm just looking at time quickly. There's usually 5 C's, and Victor again alluded to this, which is character, capacity, capital, collateral, and conditions. And character is a big piece. So it's not just about your credit score, but under the character, lenders are looking to see that you can pay back the loan. So they're looking to see how honest you are. Again, will you pay back? So they're going to look at things like your qualifications, your experience, your management skills, how you've borrowed in the past. So that all makes up your character. Even references can go on to under the character. Programs that you've taken for your business can also go, because it shows, you know, you're putting in the time, and that counts for something. That's sweat equity. And then we have capacity, and capacity is the ability to repay. So sometimes a lender may look to see what assets you have, or what you yourself has contributed to your business. What percentage have you put in? Because no lender wants to lend 100%. You know, you have to have some skin in the game, and that's important. They also want to know, when we think about capital, what is the purpose? Is this loan going to help you generate more revenue, make your business increase, and be more impactful to society? So that's also important. And then we have collateral. You know, do you have any assets that you can, you know, use? We don't always need it. I can tell you, we don't need it in micro lending, but you know, it's always good to start building assets if you can. And lastly is conditions. And you know, this was really clear during this pandemic period, you know, with business starting or business that's already been operating. You know, you have to have plan Bs around your business. So, you know, condition is, you know, when you're looking to borrow money, what is the condition right now? You know, is a lender going to lend you if, you know, the country is shut down because of a pandemic? So if you're applying for financing, you sort of got to take that all into consideration. So your confidence, you know, one of the key things is when you're going into your lender, you're the business. They're looking at you, the owner, the management, as the key decision maker in your business. So your confidence is going to be important. You know, your business plan, you know, it's really important to write this yourself. And if you're not writing it, you better make sure you understand what's in that business plan, because the lender will ask questions pertaining to your business plan. They're going to look at your skills needed. So do you have those, again, qualifications? You know, if you say you're, you know, you're a designer, do you have those skills to design? If you're going to open up a restaurant, do you have the skills necessary for that? So they look at the skills that you're bringing to the business. Again, you know, if you're not a startup, they're going to look at your track record. So how have you demonstrate past success? And even if you're a startup, you know, that track record then comes to how have you handled other personal financial obligations. They look at things, and we heard Francis mention this, and this is where you can get some help around your financial oversight. So, you know, do you have good quality financial statements? Do you understand what goes into a cash flow projections? You know, making sure you have all this ready before applying for any type of business financing. Also, in your business plan, understanding your competitive position. What makes you unique? What makes your business unique is important. And also understanding your product and service. Does it make sense? Is this the right product or service for the market at this time? So these are all things that a lender will look for when they're sort of assessing your application. So I'm going to briefly talk about the Alterna Community Microfinance Program. It was a program that was established more than 20 years ago, because when we started this program, we saw a gap in the marketplace. We saw a gap where individuals who were underserved did not have access to traditional financing. And that was the reason we started this program. And we focus on underserved individuals, low-income individuals, those that are self-employed, business startups, and new Canadians, and even those transitioning into the workforce, you'll find under our microfinance program. To date, we've loaned over 7 million to over 1,300 entrepreneurs. And you know, if I were to look at the breakdown of our portfolio, 34% represents Black entrepreneurs and 72% represents racialized Canadians who simply didn't have access to financing. Our target groups are low-income earners, and we've built our product, which we call the Income Builder Loan, and that provides financing up to $5,000. And in this product, we recognize that not everyone needs a large loan. A small amount of loan, especially home-based, can help them get started. And so with our income builder loan, you may not have a detailed business plan, but you may have an executive summary. You may have a business model canvas, a one-pager, and that's fine, for that particular loan product. And I actually, if just a quick story about that, I designed that product because I remember a DJ coming in and, his equipment broke down, and it was something he did part-time on the side on weekends, and we can relate to that. And he needed $3,000. And before that loan product, I said, you need a detailed business plan, you need all this. And he's like, oh, I can't do that. It's not full-time. And that sort of inspired us to create the income builder for those who just needed small amounts of financing. We have our skilled professional and trade loans, and these are loans that go up to $15,000. So no matter what your business, usually most will fit into that category. And again, it's up to $15,000 for just a startup. We need your business plan and your cash flow projections to get started. We also have our loans for social enterprise and entrepreneurs. And these are loans up to $25,000. Again, if your business is having some type of social impact, and social entrepreneurs and enterprise, they maximize their profits for social good. Here, you could be a for-profit, a nonprofit, or a cooperative. Those loans are up to $25,000. We have our Women Entrepreneurship Loan Program, and that's because over the 20 years, we know that women are the primary users of microfinance, and so we wanted to have flexible financing for them. So our Working Women Business Loans provide loans to women entrepreneurs up to $25,000. And lastly, we have our professional development loans. And while it's not entrepreneurship, there's individuals who need tools of the trade to get into employment. And so, a $5,000 loan will do that. And also to help those who need to go back and get accreditation so they can get into employment. So, we see a lot of massage therapists and those sort of businesses who need license or exams. $5,000 will help pay for, especially when, it's not covered through things like OSAP. So the process for our loans, again, the loans are $1,000 to $25,000, and criteria really depend on, the type of loan, the type of business, the Beacon score. So it's not really one size fit all. We have to look at the individual. Interest rates range from prime +2 to prime +6, and prime today is 2.45. We charge an administration fee of $100, and that's to help cover the cost of the program. And that is only charged if the loan is approved. We deduct it off the top of the loan. Repayments are from 1 to 5 years, and loan payments are scheduled monthly. You can use the loan to help you develop your business. It should be in your business plan, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Victor talked about the purpose of these loans, and here with ours it's the same: working capital, assets, etc. And in terms of our criteria, you'll need to submit your business plan with your cash flow. You got to demonstrate you have the skills to run the business, so your technical skills and your operational. So you all come with the technical skills, right? It's the operational. And that's what Francis talked about. Those skill sets is the one that you will get through an organization like hers. And you have to demonstrate your character. So this is where we look at your credit. So if you want to apply, again, we need the application. We've got an interview questionnaire. We need your notice of assessment from Revenue Canada. That's important to us because these loans are for those who don't have access to traditional financing. So your personal income, not your business income, has to be under $50,000. Now, more than a loan, we also have education. The loan is just one component. The wraparound supports is important. So we have our in-house banking basic. We'll go through budgeting, credit, and savings with you. We also collaborate with industry experts so that we can bring you more education around marketing, taxation, sales and so on. We actually have October 21st, we have a webinar on Wellness Matters, and any of you are welcome to attend. My email address will be at the end of the presentation. And lastly, we just launched our micro savings program. And we launched this program because we found that during the pandemic, many small, very small businesses simply did not have emergency savings set aside. And if it really wasn't for Alterna or the government offering other incentives and deferrals, many would have gone bankrupt. And that prompted us to build the micro savings to help entrepreneurs build up their financial resiliency. So how this works, if you get a 5,000 loan as an example, we take 1%, which is $50, and we add it to your loan, and that goes into a savings vehicle. And so if your loan is over a 3-year term, as you pay down your loan, you're building up your savings. And at the end of the 3 years, you would have 1,800. That's just an example of how that works to help encourage savings. Just want to give you a few short stories. Right here in Ajax, we have Joy and Ernest, and they were new Canadians back in 2014 when they came to Canada. And they wanted to be employed, but they were told they didn't have the Canadian experience. So they decided to establish their own business, and they established Sweetwell Beauty Supply. And we had the opportunity with working with Joy and Ernest, to fund their business, especially when they could not get traditional financing. They have a beauty supply store in Ajax, and they provide hair products. It's a big business, and we were proud to give them their first loan to get them on their way. Here we have Mondu Floral Design, and Monique was a young entrepreneur when she came to us out of school with her business idea. She needed some startup capital, and we were able to give her that capital. And now, her business has been blooming, and she's located in Scarborough on Kingston Road. If anyone ever wants to visit, her flowers are amazing. And this loan contributed to helping her, see her dreams come through. And lastly, we have, Marcia Francis of Freedom Support Services. And, Marcia, again, she'll tell you she was a single mom, 4 children. She didn't have a lot of assets. It was a struggle. She couldn't get traditional financing, and she started with a $5,000 loan. And now, she's in commercial. She's no longer under the microloan program. She's created jobs for more than 100 individuals. She grossed more than, $1 million a year. And she's also opened up a college called Freedom College of Business, Healthcare, and Technology. So again, the microloan has really helped these individuals get their started. As Victor mentioned, Alterna is a partner in the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, working with FACE. And the microloan pilot is extremely important to us because we know the need for small financing, and we wanted to make sure that it was part of this Black Entrepreneurship Loan Program. So as he mentioned, the loans are from 10 to 25,000. The interest rate for the microloans is set at prime +3. The repayment terms is up to 5 years. And there's also the interest only option available up to 12 months as well. And there's an administration fee of $100 that again can be deducted from the loan proceeds. So if you want to apply for this particular loan, which is different from the ones I mentioned, you would apply through facecoalition.com. So Tennille, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right. All right.
Just
Thank you
for
so
those
much.
who need my email address, it's susan.henry@alterna.ca or microfinance@alterna.ca.
Right. And I think I think Julie helpfully dropped that into the chat. And it looks like a lot of the questions have been answered in the chat as we've been going, helpfully from Julie and Victor. Let's see if there's anything else that we can make sure that we're not missing anybody, because this has been some really great gems of information that I know that we can all benefit from. So I want to make sure that we're all getting to say what we have to say here. Let's see. Yep, the program will be available made after, Desiree. You got to that question. That's good. So everyone, you'll be able to access this this conversation later on because it's been recorded. There was a question regarding the
I see that
business.
someone has asked about, they've applied to FACE and it's been a while. So
Yeah.
if you could share the name of your business in the chat, I will look into it personally.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, Victor, if there's a way for people to contact you as follow-up after that, I guess your information is here, I think. Hopefully that is in the chat too. So Vanessa, your question was answered regarding your boutique. FACE will help you. Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions here? I think there was a question about the 1% and the $350 of the application fee, Victor, that
Okay,
Juliet had asked you. She was asking what that was regarding.
Okay, well, so the 1% is the application fee, which covers all the legal and documentation costs. So that's a one-time fee that you pay when your loan is dispersed. And the $350 is an annual fee that gets charged to the entrepreneur every year. That covers the cost of us doing our annual review, which is looking at the loan performance and looking at your business plan again. So we do an annual review every year. So those are the two fees. I don't see the question, but I think that should answer the
Okay, thank you, Victor.
Okay. Yep.
And Amanda had a question regarding if you've never had a business before, is it okay for, like, is this for a new startup? Is it appropriate to, for people who've never owned a business before and want to try to start one? So definitely, okay.
You know, to Susan's point, and I think I mentioned earlier, we're here to help everyone. Now, obviously, if you've never had a business before, it might be a little bit more work. We'll have to work together a little more to make sure, again, to Susan's point, that what you're doing, you know, makes sense for you to be able to repay the loan, to look at your cash flow projections, to make sure that what you are planning in your business plan and your projections to sell, does it make sense? So we're going to do a little bit of, you know, vetting of your idea and your numbers. Starting a new business from scratch, when you're talking about borrowing money, is a real challenge, no question about it. But apart from a bank who's going to look at you and say, well, no, and that's it. If we think that there needs to be some extra work done in your plan, we're going to work with you, either here again with Francis or Susan, but we're going to work with you to get you to the stage where it makes sense. But definitely, you know, if you want to start a business and you've never been in business before, FACE is here to help you.
Okay, perfect. Another question we had here was regarding if there's any penalties for early repayment of the loan.
No.
No, perfect. All right, love to hear it. All right, you know what's great? We are exactly on time for this Zoom meeting to be wrapping up. And I just, for one, want to say that I was, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Julie.
Thank you so much. Oh, actually, let me, so you all can see me. Greetings. I'll make this question really quick. Thank you for this amazing, I signed on like last minute and I went in my emails and I seen that you all were doing a presentation today. So it's really good information. My question is, I had heard earlier about the, like if somebody wanted to learn a trade that would add to their business, that there would be some support in that. So my question is, I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. I've been running my business with my husband for 11 years. Now the business that I want to get into, I'm creating the business plan, but I feel like because I spent most of my time running business and being an entrepreneur, I didn't pursue like a skill set. So for example, if somebody wants to start a salon but they didn't go to school for a hairstylist, but they know the business operations, is there any way to support the individual who's putting in the business plan to help them get their certification as a hairstylist so that it strengthens the business, that they have that asset to add to their business so that if they're running it and hairstylists don't show up, they're like, oh, I know how to do this because I was trained. So is there any support for that? Not saying I'm getting into the hair business. I'm just saying that's an example. I hope my question is clear.
Maybe I can chime in there with our loan program. So we have
Okay.
professional development. It's up to 5,000, where you can use that fund. You know, if you're going into a trade and whether that trade is tied to your business, that's fine. As long as the course is less than 24 months, we would look at up to $5,000. So yes.
Okay, and obviously you would have to prove that that skill is going to add on to your business plan.
Correct. So then you would
Okay.
then put that in you don't need that to apply for the professional development loan.
Okay.
You know, we're just looking to see you're going to gain a skill where you would then be employable, whether it's through full-time, part-time, or
my business
or your own business.
or my own business. And last question, I don't have to have my business plan to apply for that before.
No, you just have to
Wonderful.
show proof of where you're taking this particular course or exam.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you guys were able to get your questions answered, and we are right on schedule for me to I just have a few pieces that I have to cover off. I really want to thank the people at Brilliant Catalyst for supporting us to be able to have this great session, and to Julie at the Ajax Library, and to Susan and Francis and Victor and the BBPA and BAIDS. Thank you so much. Thank you for all these ladies who come and join this participation, who come to participate in this, because the information is finally being shared for us. There's actually resources that are tangible for us as Black women in business, and we can share the information and strengthen each other and empower each other to be able to access these supports and, in our local community. And I think that's awesome. I encourage you ladies to all please join and get involved with DRAPE, the Durham Region Association of Black Professionals and Entrepreneurs. Thank you to Artina and Frederica Black and Dane and Sylvan, who are my other board members here in the group. We are doing what we can to share, to pool this kind of information, to bring it to you. So I encourage you to plug in so that we can be supporting each other. Our contacts are inside the chat, as well as Susan's, as well as Victor's. So you guys, I encourage you to get involved, get plugged in. Julie, did you have a couple words that you wanted to say at this point? We're right on schedule.
Sure. Thank you, Tennille. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to our presenters this afternoon, to Francis and Victor and Susan, for sharing such valuable information with everyone. And thank you, Tennille, for hosting today, and for DRAPE for helping to organize the session. As I mentioned, the program was recorded, so I will be sending the link out following the session, as well as a link of resources that have been shared today. So keep an eye on your email for that. And if you have any feedback as you're heading out today, feel free to put that in the chat. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much.
You.
Stay blessed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.